Hey everyone, I want to take a deep dive into one of the best young players in the game today, David Puig, and I want to talk about his golf swing because he's one of those young phenoms that is starting to develop a little bit of back pain. And he had a classic body swing connection that I want to kind of highlight. Typically, if you think about the golf swing, if you're the brain and you're going to take a swing, you're going to want to try and move as much as you can through your mobile joints. And if you remember your mobile joints, we're going to try and rotate through the hip, we're going to try and rotate through the upper spine, the thoracic spine, we're going to try and get range of motion through the shoulders and the wrists. Those are your joints that really you should be doing most of your motion from. That allows you to stay stable through some of your areas like your lower back. But if you have mobility problems, let's say you can't turn the thoracic spine, right? Or you can't elevate the arms, the body starts to look for other ways to get motion. And the most common thing here is with golfers is if they can't turn either through the hip or the spine or lift the shoulders, they'll get to their wall. Instead of continuing to rotate, they do what I call a fake turn. They'll either bend backwards into what we call the reverse spine angle position and hyperextend their back, which creates all kinds of back problems, or they'll hit their wall and they'll excessively bend to the left, which also creates reverse spine angle and puts stress on their lower back. So Dave, to keep beating a dead horse here, if it's tighter turning right and harder lifting your leg up, it's way easier to just rock. Two really easy compensations for most players to make is hyperextend from the lower back or side bend left. Now Dave, if you look at his physical screen, it was very clear it was hard for him to rotate his chest to the right, thorax rotation to the right, and it's hard for him to elevate his arms. So when he gets to a certain point in his swing, he's learned that, hey, if I keep turning, it's not going to go anywhere. If I try and lift, it's not going to go anywhere. So what he did is he went to excessive side bend. Just look at the reverse spine angle. It's not there. You know why? It's left side bend.
Really?
Yes. He gets there by doing that. If you look at the 3D, I've got him here at the top of his backswing. Normally, at the top of the backswing, we see around 36 degrees of left side bend. The left shoulder is 36 degrees below the right shoulder. He's about 10 degrees more. He gets about 45 degrees. Now, that doesn't seem like a big deal. It's only 10 degrees, 45, right? But you got to remember, to get to impact, I now have to go the complete opposite direction. I got to go to right side bend. And the amount of time is the same. So he's got to move farther in the same amount of time, and it puts an excessive stress on that lower back during the downswing. And if I take him down into his impact position, coming through impact, he matched it. He's at 45 degrees again. Again, most players are around 35 and 35. He's adding 10 degrees more of side bend through impact, and because he started with more side bend, he's actually moving faster. So I've got more speed, more side bend. It's a recipe for lower back problems.
The only reason we're doing this is to try and long-term take stress off your body. Oh, yeah. It's not that you're playing bad or hitting it bad.
So if I look at his force plate, and again, I mean, we're talking some of the best ground reaction forces we've seen in golf here. He's got a perfect sequence, right? He basically takes the club to the top of the backswing, and as he starts, what we want to see is we want to see a lateral weight shift first, which he does, about 14% of his body weight. Then the next thing he does is what we call frontal plane torque or rock. So he goes lateral, then he rocks, that's called frontal plane torque. Then he starts to twist, and then he jumps. Lateral, rock, twist, jump. Now, everything's in sequence. Vertical force looks great, the rocking and twisting look great. But if I look at the lateral, how he starts his swing, he goes at 14% of his body weight. Average is almost double that on the PGA Tour. So what does that mean? Well, he's an incredible player. He's creating all this power, but he's doing it differently. So what he does is this. He gets to the point where he can't turn anymore, hard to lift his arms, so he bends sideways, and he goes left, right? So he goes left early. Now, it's kind of hard to go left when you're already left, right? So what he does is he really turns, and there's not really an aggressive weight shift. Now, what is really weird about this is it reduces his lateral ground reaction force. He still gets away with it. Again, an incredible talent. These players learn how to get around these problems. So what it does is two things. Number one, we already talked about, put stress on the lower back. It's something that we want to try and minimize and reduce because we want to be able to play this game for 40 more years.
We're trying to go, okay, could we work towards a swing that's taking stress away?
And number two is he's actually reducing his lateral weight shift. Now, lateral weight shift could actually increase his torques. It could increase his ground reaction forces. It could increase the moment arm, which actually increases the torque. To make a long story short, he could hit the ball farther.
Your lead shoulder needs to be more like a Nike swoosh, and it's just going down.
So instead of this, I'm doing this.
Correct. Yeah. 100%. You went from 42 to 35. So he could do it actually less pain and more power if we work on these. So one of the things that we're trying to work on, and he's done incredible, give them the range of motion so that they can turn, give them the range of motion so they can raise their arms, and that way he doesn't have to do a fake turn, he can actually turn.
Woo.
And you'll start to see all these numbers improve, and hopefully the players play without pain.